Do you know all the things that I cannot stand in this world? You don't, right? Because I usually don't talk about it. But I'm getting really tired of all the bullshit in society and its basic absurd lies about Jesus and Mary Magdalene, about Christ and religions, about mythology and all of that stuff, okay? If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm making coffee because I'm about to school you. And I don't give a flying fuck if you believe me or not. And if you try to find this information elsewhere, more than likely you're not going to be able to. You'll find bits and pieces. Because the original story hasn't been put into the Matrix yet, which means you're not going to find it. So, what are we doing? I am helping you see the Matrix with the truth. Right? None of this is scripted, none of this is researched, none of this is regurgitated. It's all what I know because of my DNA. And I have been wondering for so long why I'm unable to do certain things. Why I keep getting sicker, or why I keep getting this or that. And I realized today, it's because I'm keeping my mouth shut. That's why my teeth have been the way they've been, because the truth is trying to break out of them. So I'm going to tell you the truth. And you can believe it or not believe it, I really don't care. You just deserve to know the truth about all this stuff. Where do I begin? Okay, so... Oh crap, I got laundry in the thing. You think Mary Magdalene and... First of all, you think that... Or you're told that King Arthur was a mythological story and that women were subservient to men. The real history, your real narrative is that the men were the ones subservient to women in the same way you think that women are subservient to men. The women were the leaders, the landowners, the remnants of the Amazon societies, and the men were the warriors, the protectors, the guardians, the whatever, the politicians. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Mary Magdalene was wealthy beyond belief. Like, you can't even imagine how wealthy she was. She came from a very long-lived family that aged back to Egypt. And she had connections with Cleopatra and Arsinoe. Arsinoe is an old ancestor from my bloodline. She was claimed to be Cleopatra's sister, or half-sister or something, but it was all the same family. The biblical Christ you know of is irrelevant to me. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about the actual people that existed, not the fairy tale. You can believe what you want and however you want. It is your prerogative and your world. But if you actually go and look for records, timelines won't match up. Because they're not going to match up. And attempting to put it all together is just ridiculous because you keep thinking that these people lived for 50 or 60 years. when the time span of life back then was as long as you want to fucking live. It just was. The bloodline of Christ, and by the way, Christ was a title for kings. So when you're talking about Christos this or Christos Sophia or this version of people that were like gods incarnate, you're God incarnate. So of course they were gods incarnate. The only difference between you two is how much you can do with the God force inside you, which currently is being siphoned into matter instead of energy. And every time you have energy, they're like, you should manifest this, and a cell phone, and a TV, and a car, and this, and this. When you're supposed to be manifesting planets, worlds, galaxies, new elements. Anyway, Cleopatra and Arsinoe. The last known Arsinoe passed away before Christ's birth. She didn't actually pass away. She went to where Christ was being born and continued with him. That's why in the Nag Hammadi it's mentioned that you should keep an eye out for Martha, someone Esther, I think, and Arsinoe. Family. Mary Magdalene was a wealthy avatar logos of the planet, the age of the goddess. And most of the experiences you know that you associate with Jesus Christ were actually her shifted into male form, because she could shift the energy masculine or feminine. And Jesus, the one that accompanied her and did all these things, was her mate, her family member, more than likely her biological brother, because Game of Thrones. And they did have children. After the crucifixion, they went off to, if I remember correctly, it was India, or he was in India first, learning things, and then back for the crucifixion, and then from there they went to England, London, Ireland, whatever it was called back then, Lady of the Lake, Avalon, all of that. From there, they disappear from the history books, and they become dukes and duchesses, lords and ladies, kings and queens, and they turn into Arthur and Guinevere. Actually, Arthur and Merlin. Merlin was Mary Magdalene. Magdalene is a title. Magdalene is, the original meaning is the tower. Hence why in the tarot, the tower has two falling apart, male, female. Her tower was broken apart. She was shifted to the form of a male. Energies dissipated, moved into history, forgotten about. Jesus continued. That's why in the Arthurian legends, Merlin and Arthur disappear after a point. We're going to call him Arthur for the sake of continuity. After the whole England thing happened and their wars and their battles for whatever, and this is also why, just side note, why it mentions that Jesus laid low the nations. Oh, son of the morning, how you laid low the nations, and you're now blah, 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 that. Also, side note, the sons of God and the daughters of men. The planet originally only had the daughters of men. Man, mana, man, the spirit, the energy, the Holy Spirit, the female aspect of the original mind, the originator. Whereas the sons of God were the beings that came down, impregnated them, and became the Nephilim race. Their children became the Nephilim race. This is why most humans believe they're transgender, because originally they were all hermaphroditic female beings until the Elohim and the sons of God came down and impregnated and infected and possessed the women. And then they became male and female. It's such a messed up story. And most of it is completely unknown because people are convinced that the human species can only survive a certain amount of time, is only doing this, and that cities and borders and map lines existed, and that 90% of your history is mythology. When 90% of your history is actually fake, and the 10% that you think is real is even more fake. And the reality of it is that all of it is one giant story. One giant story. Mary Magdalene, which wasn't her name, Mary is also a title. Mary of Magda, Mary the Tower, Mary the Strength, the Queen of Strength, the Grace of Strength, the Pillar of Strength. I should just write a book about this. But then I'd get money for it, and I don't want money. I just want you to know the truth so you can figure out your shit yourself. Where was I? I just had the best Chinese food, and I was just sitting there listening to the belligerency outside. And I started getting all of this awakened in my being again. And I was asking myself, like, why do you keep telling me this? Why is this important? Why do I need to know this? And then I watched a video, and then, like, most history is convoluted and distorted, and we don't know what the real story is. And I'm like, oh, because you're missing this. So once you have this, all the other stories will make sense. What else? Magic powers do exist, just FYI. The gods, they were the remnants of the old race. So the beings you call gods, like Thor and Zeus and all of those, they were a mix of, and partly of the intruder species and the actual race that was on the planet before. So when the last cataclysm happened that wiped most of them out and sent some underground and some into space, the remnant that remained seeded the rest of the world, which was seeded in the way you see it now, kind of, sort of. And Lily, don't you start with me. Are you done? You know all this is true. This is why in so many histories and so many comic books and so many everything, you have a red-haired woman and a brown-haired man. Jean Grey and Cyclops. Aquaman and the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid and Prince whatever his name was. It's Jesus and Mary. Except Mary was the one who did all the stuff, and she taught Jesus. Jesus also went to, and his name wasn't Jesus, by the way. It just wasn't. He had gone, when he was young, he was still around Egypt. Prior to that, the family, the lineage from the women, the queens, the pharaohs, which Egypt had queens. The women were the pharaohs, not the men, until it was distorted later to make it easier for you to submit to men in this society. They had mystic abilities back then, and they taught him, including other people, how to do certain things. Because each king, the anointed people, the Christed kings, had to have these abilities. Whether it was male or female was irrelevant, but it was taught by the women, because the women were the remnants. The goddess women were the remnants of the old species of the actual gods. What else? You know one thing I don't like about estrogen? It makes your cheeks puffy. Before I had estrogen treatments, my cheeks were all hollow. And once I started it, my cheeks got really puffy. Way more cheek fat. I guess it didn't help that I was crying for 2 years straight every single day. Making that sad cry face. If you're watching, give me back my stuff. I love you and you're being mean to me and I don't appreciate it. You know who you are. Oh my god, Lily. Anyway. Where was I? The Amazons. They were again, the remnants of the old world. The Druids, the ancient ones, the original pagan beliefs, the original belief in the one god, goddess, that was all part of their belief system. The aspect of the Mother Earth itself all originated from the Amazonian cultures. The entire world was an emerald canopy. All of it. There was no part of the world that had trees smaller than the Sears Tower. All of them were massive because there was a giant purple sun in the sky, along with a yellow one and a white one. That's why the moon is seen as a fake satellite, because it's a failed shadow experiment of what the original white sun, the blue and the red, and the purple. And then in this reality, they're like, oh, it's just chakras, it's just this. No, it's not just these things. That's actually how the world was before it was wiped clean. And the Knights of the Round Table were obviously the zodiac, but they were also people that were assisting. And the reason why the blood from Jesus was saved during the crucifixion was to create genetic clones, copies, replicas, to follow the bloodline, to perpetuate the bloodline. I gotta go check the laundry. Hold on. Just come with me, because I'm probably gonna lose my car. You want to see the creepiest hallway? It's so creepy. Oh, jeez. How many quarters do I have to put in this? What else can we talk about? Those beings, those people still exist, and they're still alive. Jesus Christ is still here. So is Mary Magdalene. So is his mother. So on and so forth. They just don't look like they used to. Hi, Richie. That was Richie. He's my next door neighbor who has autism and a few other things going on. And he's one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. What am I doing? Oh, right. Do you know how good this stuff is, by the way? It's really good. Why is this backwards? Whatever. Let's see. Oh, in the Nag Hammadi, you know how it says that Mary Magdalene says that they were turned into men and they should thank the Lord? They were. And it wasn't fun. So if you combine the story of Mr. Jeebus and Mr. Arthur, and you then take into account Avalon and quarters. Now, Avalon and the Greek gods and everything else, your stories will make a lot more sense. The biblical god, the cruel and jealous and whatever, is pretty much Zeus. And I'm not kidding. And the sons of God were his peeps that didn't want to be his peeps anymore. The fall from heaven. The fall from heaven, which apparently seems to be this. Whatever. The fall from heaven was them leaving his demands and doing their own thing because they'd rather be here with the ladies than over there taking orders from someone who was a hermaphroditic being itself. The Demiurge is not a male or female, it is both. The Elohim were not male or female, they were both. Their minions and their offspring were genetically altered to be different species so that they wouldn't have the harmony of male and female, so that they could not harness the power of creation and will. I swear to God, I like de-age and age and look male or female or elf or unicorn or whatever in like every other scene in these videos. What else can I tell you? Excalibur was real. It was enchanted. An enchantment is nothing more than an affirmation, an intention placed upon an object. Your life is magic. The law of attraction is magic. You can very easily toss a fireball out of your hand if you activate the genes in your body that activate those specific sequences. And the way your genes activate, which was taught to Jesus and them in ancient Egypt, and along with the hieroglyphs and everything else, is by pretending, acting as if. So you repetitively do something that activates those genes through music, sound, music, vibrations, actions, thoughts, and beliefs. So if you want to fly, you perpetually act like you're flying. Jump off a couch, jump up the stairs, jump down the stairs, run real quick and then jump up and then land back down. Eventually you will fly. You want to control lightning? Do you really? I can show you how. You just activate the genes. That's all you do. You know, I'm gonna pay more attention to my face in my manifestations. I've given so much power away. Just some stuff I want to improve. You know, if you go look at Google and look at the images or statues of Arsinoe, she looks like this. It's weird. Weird. Really, even the nose. I have the face of an old Egyptian queen. Go figure. I think that's it for today. I think I've blasted you with enough information and enough of my face for one day. Don't you? I think I have. Oh, right. Jesus and Mary. Sorry. They did have children. Their children had children. Their children's children had children. And the reason why you don't know about it is because most of them had been tampered with by the nutties. throughout this narrative of this world, so that the bloodline can be tempered with, so that the rightful heirs to the planet and the planet's power would be wiped out, basically. And this is why you have such discrepancies for transgender and hermaphrodite people, because they're the ones that used to be the healers, the rulers, the kings, and the queens. Mary Magdalene was a hermaphrodite, so was Mr. Jeebus. They had to be in order to be able to do what they did, including rule. All the old kings were called the Fisher Kings, the Christed ones, which basically means anointed. So when you see pictures of a queen knighting a knight, she's anointing him. She is Christing him or her. And notice how it's usually always a queen doing it. But on TV, they make you think that men rule the world when it's actually women that rule the world. And it's not human women that currently rule the world. And think about this for a second. What kind of a supervillain would let you know who they are immediately? Wouldn't the most ingenious, insidiously evil supervillain make you think that its enemy is the enemy? Wouldn't the divine feminine being really pissed off make you think that the sacred masculine is broken? Wouldn't the sacred masculine being pissed off and, irritated at being blamed, lash out and constantly be like, hey, woman, what are you doing? And take advantage and control the woman? They're both broken. They're both messed up. And if you think you're in a divine feminine masculine twin flame relationship, you are not. Because those relationships destroy you. Ask the person I was with if he ever decides to show up. They destroy you. You destroy each other. Just like Jesus and Mary. I hate calling him Jesus. It's the name of Zeus. Hey, Zeus. It's not Jesus. His name was more... You know this yourself. I'm not going to make funny faces at you for this. You know this yourself. You know his name was not Arthur and his name was not Jesus. And as sure as heck wasn't Yeshu. Okay? I mean, really. I feel so weird and fat in this shirt. Whatever. I kind of want to shave this side of my hair, by the way. Like all that. Why? Because I have been suppressing my masculine side in every aspect of my life for about 2 years. And I want to have I intend to have a completely harmonious, balanced energy system again. So that I can do some really weird, cool shit for you and be like, see, told you so. Okay, what else? This is the weirdest history lesson in the world. Cleopatra did not kill her sister. That's another thing in history. Cleopatra was a really nice woman. She was Jesus. She was his grandmother, and Arsinoe was his aunt, and their bloodline. And Mary Magdalene, she wasn't even named Mary Magdalene. Her name was Lynn, like Merlin, Lynn of the sea, Magda, the tower of Lynn. It was not Mary. Mary was a title given to those of the sea, the beings that came out of the oceans, the daughters of the sea, the sea stars, the light from within the core of the earth, the daughters of the earth, the daughters of Sophia. And the sons of God came through the solar object you call the sun, which is why so many beings associate God with the sun. The sun is not God. The sun is a consciousness that allows beings to enter and exit through it. Those beings came from a different galaxy, more than likely Orion or Andromeda, to assist this planet, because this planet and its consciousness came from the Gnostic story that you know, but that story is also convoluted and distorted in history and time by the archons and the aeons to get you to realize what's actually going on by using your own genetic history, through your own Akashic records, through your own DNA library. What else? What else? What else? Lynn, and then Owen. His name was more like Owen, just FYI. Hence why in this fractal universe in the King Arthur movie, Clive Owen played Arthur. C. Liv Owen. C. Owen Liv. Clive Owen. Sophia, King Solomon, Sophia, and Jesus. Jesus and Sophia. This is so messed up trying to explain this to you. The Sophia of Christ, the aeon that fell, is Magdalene. It's also the one you think is Jesus Christ. It's the same being switched, okay? The one you think is Mary Magdalene, who was his wife, is actually the one that became king. And do I need to get the doodles out here? Jesus and Mary Magdalene, also known as the Aeon Sophia, whatever. Her partner, throughout history known as Jesus Christ. Same people, okay? Same people. The one that was actually, like, in history books labeled the Christ, the Jesus, the man, the masculine form, was her husband. It wasn't anyone else, it was her husband. Okay? When the crucifixion happened, he was the one that it happened to. Wait, that felt wrong. It happened to her. No. Give me a minute. There's something wrong here. There's a weird screen memory. Oh, she became he, had that stuff happen to her, which is why she's talking to Father God, because she knows the story, because that's where she came from. And the one in the veil at the feet of the whatever that happened was actually the he that went off to become King Arthur, because she had the power to bring herself back with the power from up above to create and heal the body after 3 days. Throughout that regeneration cycle, her consciousness went into the underworld, which is this place that you're existing in right now, which is why people say you are the Christ, you are Jesus Christ, your imagination, your everything is that, because it's in here. It's happening now. All of time is happening now. Are you keeping up with this? I hope you are, because me posting this video is going to throw such a wrench into the entire matrix. Anyway, yeah, after the crucifixion, they went to England, or Europe, or whatever it was known back then. She became one of the richest, wealthiest people in the Dutch areas. I think she was known as the Duchess of Orange because of her massive glow and her golden wealth everywhere. And yeah, the King Arthur stuff happened, they lived for thousands of, almost, or more than 1,000 years, because you just tell your cells to stay alive, so they do. So, and then, whoa, remember, you basically have no history from 33 AD until 1300 AD. Basically everything there is mythology, which is actual history twisted around. And then you have the Black Plague, which was from the Elos and the Archons and all of those things, which is basically a giant galactic federation of nitwits who sabotage, interfere, and cause distortions, which is the exact counterpart to the actual beings of light who are within you, not outside of you. That's why you feel alone, because there's really nothing outside of you. You are in the darkness of space. You are at the edge of the galaxy of the universe. You are in the actual historical, mythological underworld, coming back to life. When you die here, you don't die, you actually come back to life. This world you're living in is death. You eat death, you wear death, you live in death, you breathe death. It's all death. Because you are the life. You are that being that fell from the heavens eons ago. The Sophia, the aeon that fell, the wisdom that fell. And throughout history, you've gone through multiple different shifts, multiple different bodies, multiple different everything, and now history is coming back together as if you're spinning in the center of a black hole about to pop out the other side. So all of the pieces have to come back together, and this is my piece to you. Because I remember this. I've always remembered this, and I've always kept my mouth shut about this, because who would believe me saying, hey, I remember all this because it's in my blood, and I can access all this information, and I can basically access any information for you because I was trained to, and I know all of this stuff, and I refuse to watch people that are other versions of me, and I'm another version of you, be lied to. I can't stand liars. I can't stand people who take advantage, and I can't stand any form of manipulation, gaslighting, and all of that shit, which is narcissism, which is basically someone who lacks light within them. And all narcissism can be healed, all of it. You just love the person. You love them so much, your love fills them up, and then the love within them attracts more love to them, and voila, you've healed them using the law of attraction and love. Don't believe me. Ask yourself. Ask your guides. I can guarantee you that a majority of them will talk bullshit to you because they're not really your guides. And it's delicious. My significant other used to make such good coffee. I miss that bastard. We were so good together, and he remembers the most distorted version of history because they messed with him. And I've been keeping my mouth shut for so long about this and thinking, oh, if I tell you what happened, I'll look like a fool, or I'll look like this or that. And then I'm like, do you see some of these people on YouTube? Do you see some of this insanity on TV? These people on these TV show clips that I'm seeing on YouTube because I don't have a TV. So I'm like, what's happening in this world? It's basically the story I know being replayed to you through television so that it makes less sense to you when you see it heard from somebody living. You'd think that they're just reciting TV shows to you, but the TV shows are there to make the real story look fake. Because if some story is sounding like Star Wars or Arthurian legend, then it must be fake, right? Well, where the fuck do you think they got the legends from? It's all channeled information. It's all downloads. It's all DNA activations. Your blood, one drop of your blood holds the entire history of human existence. Just one drop. Do you even know what to do with your blood? Really? I mean, if you guys need someone to help teach you this stuff, I will gladly do it because this stuff comes to me as easily as I breathe. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be better than you, or to think that, or to be like, oh, I got something you don't. No, bitch, you got all of it inside yourself. The only difference between you and me is I was abused to the point of multiple deaths throughout multiple lifetimes, and all of which have continued through the same body. So I've been in the same body since the beginning. I've just been de-aged and brought back and forth through stupid fucking technology. So I can do things you can't do because I have had a long time to learn. And yeah, time is irrelevant, but the amount of experiences you gain? I'm tired of hiding, basically. You want a superhero? You got one. But I'm only going to be a superhero for you if you get your own costume on and come with me. Because I don't like being in the center of attention one bit. I don't like being looked up to. I don't like I don't like any of those things. I'm just me, and I'm a really big dork, and I'm super self-conscious. And I have vampire teeth. My coffee's getting cold. I love you. And significant other person, you know who you are. The lion, the core scribe. If you're watching, first of all, F you, okay? Really. Second of all, get your ass over here. Third of all, quit being mean to me, it sucks. And fourth of all, how are the cats? How's the house? How's the yard? Are the plants still alive? Are you even existing? Is this timeline the one where we knew each other, or the one where we hated each other? Because we swapped and switched so many times, I don't remember anymore. All I know is I love you. And I really want to throw like a lot of cats at you. Like a cat launcher. Do you see these cheekbones? Do you sure? I'm gonna go and learn how to not slouch so much. Jesus Christ. I mean, whatever. I got some makeup, just FYI. Lip gloss and stuff from this place called Addictive Cosmetics on Etsy. It's pretty good. They have cool eyeshadows too. I got a mascara from Dab Herb Makeup. I'm obviously not wearing any of it now. Like, and oh, total plug-in for these people. And no, I'm not being paid anything by them. I'm paying them. Sulu Organics. You can get really inexpensive like oils from there for your skin. Really inexpensive and really good. I think that's it. I'm gonna go and spend the next 10 years uploading this video. And what else? Will you guys start commenting or something? Because I'm starting to feel like I'm doing absolutely no good for anybody. And it would be like, not to affirm me, but to actually let me know that you're being helped. Like something was answered for you, like from the readings or from anything. Feedback would be great, because I'm kind of just going by what guides and source is telling me to do, or guiding me to do, or, you know, hey, you should do this. And I'm all like, I don't want to do this. And it's like, yeah, you do so. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're all like, yeah, you do. And then I do it. So just let me know. I mean, I don't have any monetization or anything, so it doesn't matter about any of that stuff. But it would be nice to have that silver YouTube button, you know, the the plaque, the 100,000 subscriber plaque. That'd be super cool to have. It would be nice to have an income. I guess I should monetize videos, but I can't even monetize them until I have 100 subscribers. I do really like when you guys comment and subscribe, though. You're my family. Whether you realize it or not, you're my family and I'm yours. So be nice. And a significant other